Hello and welcome to our Masterclass by OpenUp. My name is Gabby and we are excited that you were able to join us here today. Whether you're a first-time viewer or you are returning, at OpenUp we are on a mission to make mental well-being accessible to all. And one of the ways in which we do this is by organizing these monthly masterclasses where we pick a topic related to our mental well-being. And this masterclass specifically is the first of its kind because it is specifically for managers. And in this masterclass, we are going to equip you with tools and insights to help you conquer stress and also make you a more resilient and effective manager. This masterclass is going to be led by Aäron Spapens, who is a medical doctor and lifestyle expert here at OpenUp, and with over 2 decades of combined experience as a former youth athlete and also a medical doctor and practitioner of lifestyle medicine, he brings a really interesting perspective to the table on this topic. Now, a few technicalities before we get into the masterclass. The masterclass is going to be 30 minutes, and at the end, we're going to have around 15 minutes for a Q&A, where Aäron will answer any of the questions you've had. Also, for a little bit more familiarity for the platform, you have in your bottom right corner a chat function. Throughout the chat function, you can interact with Aäron and you can also talk to each other. Then we have the questions tab. If you have any questions that you would like to see Aäron answer, please leave the questions in the questions tab, and then other people will be able to also upvote your questions. And then we also have a polls function. So this masterclass is going to be a little bit interactive, and we have these polls come up, and if you would like to see the results of the polls, you can find them also at the bottom right corner. And if you want to react to anything that Aäron is saying, at the bottom in the middle of your screen you will see a reactions button. That is it for now, and now let's welcome Aäron for this interesting masterclass.
Hi all, and thanks Gabi for the wonderful introduction. Let's first say I'm very happy to host you on this session of physical awareness for high-performing environments. It's the week of the stress in the Netherlands, so it's not for everywhere around the world, but I think it's relatable for everyone. So let's keep that in mind. This session is also related to the week of the stress, and I will host you on this masterclass. I'm actually very happy to do this. I'm very honored to do this, but that's on the besides the actual talking now, because there's one thing I want to convey already, and that's move more, breathe less. Keep that in mind for the rest of the masterclass, because these two things will come across kind of often today. All right, so who am I? Gabi already introduced me quite thoroughly, but I would like to explain why I became a medic, because there is one sentence in the oath I took: let food be thy medicine. And this is related to lifestyle just in its own. And this has also triggered me to become a lifestyle expert and also become a medical doctor. I am a former youth athlete, and that's also why I'm very interested in all the extreme functioning of the human body, in those extremes in nature, for example, in mountains or in the deserts. And that's also why I decided to become an expedition medic to study these environments and also human functioning. But you might think, what is the relationship with me being a manager at a company? Actually, those extremes you can find everywhere. It's all about managing. It's managing yourself, but also others in difficult times and difficult situations. And that can be work, your own day-to-day life, family and friends. And that's why I would also focus on how to approach this as a manager for your own good, but also for others. So the goal of this session is to understand the importance of body awareness in relationship to stress reduction, and also be able to apply the concepts of movement and breathing into daily work life, And that's of course to also reduce stress or cope with stress better. Now, first things first, because how are you actually doing? And I asked this question to not only rate your physical state, but also just to tune in with yourself. But what is physical state? That is the whole body. That's physical and mental. That means how are you doing on a physical and mental scale, your physical state, and please fill in the poll. And I'm very curious to see how you actually rate your physical state today. I see a lot of people telling life's good. I see also a lot of people, I would like to feel better. I'm very curious why. And I will dive into how we can improve this with two things: move more, breathe less. And also in the Q&A, in the end, I will probably answer some questions you have directly for me. So thank you for already filling in the poll. But what is physical state? I already briefly mentioned it. It's about body awareness, about me being aware about this beautiful body I got. But it's a bit more difficult. It's not only being aware, it's about feeling. It's about embodied feeling. My whole body is connected to my brain. And actually my brain is like this portal to how I feel. And my body sends all those signals to my brain, and I can feel how everything feels. I can feel how my toe feels, but also how I just feel mentally. Those two are different things, but still one thing. Physical state, one whole body. And today I want to kind of shift the balance a bit more towards stress, about you being able to feel stress. So about today, body awareness entails embodied feeling of the balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic, which are actually part of the autonomous nervous system. And the autonomic nervous system consists of two branches. One is the sympathetic and the other is parasympathetic. The sympathetic nervous system is the activating nervous system, or fight or flight. And on the other hand, the parasympathetic nervous system is about rest and digest, the relaxation nervous system. And you might already have known this, but I think it's really important to convey this story about the balance, because we need balance between activation and relaxation. Because we can actually activate ourselves. For example, if I'm an athlete, like back in the days, I do a lot of activation, but if I'm not taking enough rest and recovery, I will eventually strain myself with an injury or at work, for example, with a burnout. So it's all about the balance between those two systems. Now, nowadays, it's quite tricky because I think we experience a lot of chronic stress. It's not said that everyone experiences chronic stress, but I do think we have this tendency in this social environment that we have a lot of things to do, a lot of pressures, and we have to cope with them. So what will happen if there's stress? You will get a fight or flight response. You get active. And nowadays, this is still that the fight or flight system is a bit more dominant. And because it's more dominant, we actually don't rest and recover enough. And for example, me as an athlete, I just gave, this also applies for us as managers or as a team player, as an employee of everywhere you are, doesn't really matter. It also applies to you. If you are a bit more active than you can recover, you actually become less fit over time. On the other hand, there's this rest and digest. And I would also enhance, if you are an athlete and you take too much rest, you will actually become less fit. So resting is not per se good. If it's dominant, it will not improve you overall. It actually will also kind of, decrease your well-being or your fitness or your physical capabilities. So there is this balance again. You need to be active to actually get stress, but on the other hand, you need rest and recovery. And this is, I think, most visualized by this last graphic, because this graphic tells you that the fight or flight system is actually a bit more triggered nowadays. It's still more active, but we put more resources and more attention to rest and recovery. And this is not only for yourself, it's just not only by yourself, it's just also involving all the people around you. So your team, family, friends, and also even your dog, because your dog can actually improve your recovery by taking that little walk around the block. So we need to put more attention to it. And this is about finding the balance. I will address this directly to you, that it's about you taking charge of more relaxation. And this is the key message, but how are we going to do this? And then we, again, with the slogan below the first slide, it was move more, breathe less. So let's dive into that. But first a question. Stress is good. Now, stress is good. You might think, what do I think about that? So please respond with a thumbs up if you agree, or with a screaming face if you disagree. And I'm very curious what you have to say about this with the emojis. I see a lot of thumbs up. Stress is good, but also a lot of screaming faces. So I think we have a good discussion going. And I guess I will already give the answer, because this is my statement. And I will also explain it. Stress is good as long as you can recover. And this is actually of the balance. You need stress to grow, to develop. But on the other hand, you also need an equal amount of rest to compensate that activation. So the balance is key. You need activation or stress to grow as long as you can recover from it. So today is also about training your resilience. And training your resilience, we're actually going to do this with our breath. But first we need to know what our breath is doing at the moment. So it's time to do a little exercise. We're going to count our breathing frequency. And the first thing we're going to do is breathe normal. And you probably already do. So please breathe as you do. But what we're going to do is for 1 minute, we're going to count the inhalations. So for 1 minute, count only the inhalations. And we're going to do this in 5 seconds. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we breathe in. And that's 1. And you breathe out. And again, in and out, counting the inhalations. And just do it by yourself. You may close your eyes. You may keep them open. Eventually, I'm very curious about how often you breathe, so feel free to share in the chat the amount of breaths you took. It's about a minute now, so in 5 seconds we probably will have the minute done, and then you can just say, that's the amount of breaths I took, and share it with everyone or keep it for yourself. It's all good. The thing is, probably you already felt different than before. Because I said now to you guys, sit down for a minute or stand up for a minute and just breathe. And that is in fact is already biased, because you will probably feel already different. But we're going to do another exercise. And this exercise is actually meant to affect you. And I'm not going to tell how it affects you, that's for later. But we're going to do an exercise that's called prolonged exhales. And we're going to do this once again, 1 minute. And we're only going to count exhalations, but the exhalations we're going to do as slowly as possible. So once again, 1 minute, count your exhalations for as slow exhalations as possible. You're going to start again with 5 seconds. Just sync it up a bit. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And start breathing. We inhale, for example, and slowly exhale as slow as possible. And we're going to repeat that and count your exhalations. about 5 seconds from now, we're once again done. And I'm very curious how many breaths you took with the exhalations. Also, feel free to respond in the chat with the number, but also reflect about, like, how did you feel? How did it change? Is there a change in how you felt compared to the first exercise, or even before the first exercise? Because this exercise should do something with you. Now, let's talk about breathing in itself. Because I see a lot of numbers. I see higher numbers, lower numbers. I see also people telling that this is almost half, and I can also calculate it for you that people literally have a change in breathing frequency. But the frequency is also the amount of breaths we take every minute. And the amount of breaths we take are influencing our performance. But I'm very curious what you think about what are the, perfect frequency, the best frequency to breathe for optimal performance. It's a bit bold statement, but do think about it. And also feel free to share it in the chat. But I'm gonna ask some people, because it's actually 6 to 10. And I'm not gonna address now straight away what 6 to 10 breaths do, because first of all, what happens when we breathe more than 10? And this graphic is just intended to push you into thinking with me, because the person is sitting down and is sweating and is also breathing, probably a little bit too fast, as I told you. And this is actually what we do during work. We sit down, we are not active, but we're nearly sweating, we're really active, and we're really breathing fast. And that is actually quite weird, because it's not optimal for our performance. You're too active, and the chance is there that you actually are going beyond your optimal window of performance and actually get less performance. And this is all to do with stress. If the stress is too high, you breathe too fast, and eventually this is a marker that you can actually decrease in performance. On the other hand, you also have 6 breaths or lower than 6 breaths, and the second exercise forced people to actually get lower than 6 breaths a minute, and then you recover because you activate your relaxing nervous system. And now back to the balance, because the 10 and the 6 are actually numbers or borders of getting the activating nervous system going or relaxating nervous system going. In between, those activating and relaxating nervous system are in balance. And if we are in balance, we can optimal perform. And for everyone, this is a guide. It's a kind of a guideline between 6 and 10. It's not for everyone, but optimally, I think everyone can breathe between 6 and 10 at work to actually get the best performance. But we need to know something about the breath itself and how you can breathe. And that's breathing in relation to awareness, because how we breathe really matters. It really, really matters. And the nose, we actually use it as our mouth to breathe. But what are the differences? So for nose breathing, we often use nose breathing. Well, I would say we only nose breathe when we are at ease, or at least comfortably at ease, or when we're just not yet too active to breathe through our mouth. But later on that. We also kind of get low and deep breathing, because if you use your nose, you will activate your diaphragm, and the diaphragm pushes down, and you will inhale more deeply than when you compare to our mouth. Also, the frequency, therefore, will get lower. What the focus of the inhalations and exhalations, or your breath, are more focused on the exhale. So you focus more on exhaling, like the exercise we did before, the prolonged exhales. The impact is that you get more relaxation. And this is quite nice, because eventually, by breathing through our nose, you can get more relaxation. On the other hand, mouth breathing. We often are stressed when we mouth breathe. For example, when you do vigorous exercise, or are very scared, or very stressed actually. And this is when we breathe high and shallow. So we breathe in our chest, and we have a higher breathing frequency. The focus is more on the inhale. For example, if you're nearly hit by a bus and you jump away, you probably are so scared that you breathe through your mouth and very rapidly, and you are actually inhaling more than you should. Then on the other side, there's this, no, on the other side is not the correct word phrasing, but it's about activation. Because we are stressed, we are doing an activating breathing pattern, and that's through our mouth. But this also can kind of rewind back, because if we're active, we have this tendency to keep on breathing through our mouth. And that's also what happens on the nose breathing. If we are relaxed, this helps us to breathe through our nose and will relax us even further. So you can actually use different types of breathing to get the response you need. If you want to dial up, get more active, breathe through your mouth. And if you want to dial down, breathe through the nose. So, to conclude, the less we breathe, the more relaxed we are. And I will even note to that one thing, always breathe through your nose, except when you're vigorously exercising or moderate intense exercising, or when you're just ill. Then you're allowed to breathe through your mouth. But the only thing what you really want to do is breathe through the nose as much as you can throughout the day. And the second thing is, if we are more relaxed and we breathe more slowly, we actually have this non-verbal communication, because if we are more relaxed, we will also be contagious to other people. We will help other people to actually become more relaxed. So if you feel stressed and you will go into that meeting, please check in with yourself. A mini break, a mini check-in. Do this breathing exercise, for example, the prolonged exhale, and feel that you are right now, but also you can get a bit more relaxed, recover, and spread this relaxation towards your team. Now, there is a thing I really would like to ask you guys, because we're very busy and we sit so often. So in high-performing environments, we love being busy. So busy, in fact, that we often forget to move. So we left breathing and we go straight into moving. How many hours a day do you spend sitting? Please, once again, fill in the poll. If you're really curious about your peers, click on the poll tab and you will also see the results. I'm very curious myself how long actually, or how many hours you spend sitting. I see answers are running and slowly trickling down into the poll itself. And I see a lot of people actually filling in more than 8 hours. And I'm not surprised. And maybe some of you guys are surprised, but I'm not. Because there's something in our workday that really prevents us from being active, and is being busy. And also the work environment in itself. And I would really like to go to the next thing called sedentary lifestyle. Because what is sedentary lifestyle or sedentary behavior? Sedentary behavior is the activity of sitting or lying down except sleep. And everything equivalent in energy expenditure of sitting and lying down is called sedentary behavior. So to be short, it's just sitting and, well, lying down. But if it's a lifestyle, then it's defined as sitting 6 hours or more every day without enough moderate to intense exercise a day. And enough is a half an hour each day. So what are the effects of sedentary lifestyle? Because we, most often, you as a manager or just as an employee, probably will sit down too much. Now, it has tremendous effects on our physical health. It will increase all-cause mortality, it will increase chronic diseases, it will also increase absenteeism, and that's something I think everyone can agree upon, that's something you don't want. But it also has negative effects. It will decrease your posture. Many people who sit too much have this hunched over, like kind of lacking tone in their body. And this also applies to mobility. If you don't use your joints, you will lose mobility in those joints. And of course, if you don't endure enough exercise, then your endurance will also decrease. And overall, your energy levels will kind of drop. and you will feel less energized during the day. On the other side, there are mental effects. The risk of depression, anxiety, and burnout are higher, and also your performance decrease. And the performance is about concentration, focus, but also creativity. So as managers, we really wouldn't like this. We would actually the opposite. We want to be more active to have better performance and also to get less absenteeism. So what do we need to know about movement? And there's, I guess, the best thing to know is mind-body alignment. Mind-body alignment is the alignment between mental stress and physical stress. During the day, we have a lot of mental stress. We focus at our work and actually sit still. And this disalignment, our body can't handle that well. To relax properly, to really recover, we need mental stress, but also the physical stress. And therefore, if you align the stress we kind of engage in or experience during the day, you need to kind of counterbalance with the physical exercise. And then, if you do that, you will see that you can truly relax. And this is what many people do actually for relaxation, is going out for that jog or going to the gym. And this is exactly what I tell you to do more often, but also during the day. Take that little break, take that little walk during your workday. So, doing more, moving more, will eventually lead to less stress, because one of the things is you are able to truly relax because you are going into this relaxation part of the nervous system. But also we have this brain chemistry that kind of adapts. If we are moving more, our brain will cope better with stress. And also the stress hormones in itself will decrease because we are moving more and therefore relaxing more, so there will be less cortisol or adrenaline. On the other side, we have performance and well-being that will increase. Performance, if you move more, the brain chemistry will change so drastically that you actually will have better focus and concentration. Therefore, you will soak up information more easily, but also your brain is more plastic. And because of its plasticity, it is also being able to be more creative, get better ideas, but also you're less rigid in your thoughts. And that's also good, because if you're less prone to kind of sit down and grind your teeth and say that this is the way I like, the team environment will also improve. We also have well-being, because eventually if we move more, we feel more energized. And if we feel more energized, we will have better quality of life, and also in the end, less absenteeism, which is, I think, something we all would like to achieve. So, to kind of recap, but also do a little exercise. It's about moving more to actually cope with stress better, but also perform better. Now, I would like to do this exercise together. This exercise is very easy. We just tense up fully, and we squeeze your hands, you squeeze your glutes, you squeeze everything in your body, and we hold this for 10 seconds. Then we jump up, and when we land, you just let it go. And we shake it out. And that we also do for 10 seconds. To recap, very short, it's tense up fully, hold it for 10 seconds, jump up, and on the landing stage, we shake it out, and we shake that for 10 seconds. I'm going to do this with you in 3, 2, 1. Squeeze up fully. Come on. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hold it. And you feel that your breath is kind of stagnating as well, and then just jump up. And shake it out. Now, my question is, how do you now feel after this exercise? Do you still feel remaining tension, or do you feel more relaxed? For me, I feel that my breathing pattern changed once again. And actually, therefore, breathing and exercising or moving is coupled. It's actually also similar to each other. So my question is, how do you feel? Reflect on how you came into this masterclass and how you're doing now. And I'm really curious about how you actually feel. Do you understand what I mean with body awareness? the balance between activating and relaxation. Because only then, if you learn to listen to your body, you will get this magic happening that you can actually recover better and be more resilient. And when you are able to be more aware about yourself, you can manage yourself better. And by managing yourself better, you can just zoom out a little bit and get into that team meeting from now on a little bit better prepared, better relaxed. And therefore you can be contagious in your relaxation and improve team performance. So my statement would be, move more, breathe less, and be contagious. And I would really love to see you guys hanging around for the Q&A. We have a bunch of questions, and Gabi will ask them in just a minute together in a Q&A. Thank you so much already.
Aäron, thank you so much for this interesting masterclass. I think specifically, move more, breathe less. It's such a catchy phrase that I think now when I'm going to be working, I'm going to be like, oh, hold on a second, I need to stand up, go for a little walk and make sure I'm breathing less. So that was a really nice, easy way to remember everything that you've shared.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope everyone can apply this to their daily life and also beyond work life. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And we had quite a few questions come in. So Anne asks, how do you make sure you breathe less throughout the day?
Really good question, Anne. Well, throughout the day, it's impossible to think all day long about your breath. And luckily so, because we breathe, if you do breathe very slowly, it's 8,000 times a day. But if you breathe a bit faster, then it's about 29,000 times a day. So think about that. You don't want to take every breath consciously because it will drive you mad. So please don't. But it's about exercising. Like everything. It's what I said with the balance. Actually, this applies once again. You need to focus a bit more, well, kind of giving yourself a bit stress, training. But with training your breath, you actually will recover automatically because you don't think the rest of the day. But the impact will be that if you are getting a lower breathing frequency during training, you will actually keep that for a while during daily life. So you will recover automatically. So this is quite a easy thing to do. Breathing is very safe. It will go automatic. You won't kind of do something weird with yourself, but you will get more relaxation. And this will kind of have this prolonged effect. And if you do this more often, those mini check-ins, if you do those mini check-ins, then you will see that you actually have more reps during the day. And doing more reps, it will eventually become a habit. And a habit is unconscious. And therefore, you will start breathing slower throughout the day. So this is just about practicing, like going to the gym. If you want to bulk up, you need to do exercise. Breathing, the same thing.
Yeah. And it's interesting how you see that it's so interlinked, right? That if you just like move more and you exercise, you give that intentional stress, then afterwards you are in recovery and you're going to be like breathing less. So it's really one with the other really goes hand in hand. Wow. I
totally agree. And also when it's like a little, I'm a breathing expert, I could say, or at least I think so. It's more that I do know that there's scientific research also that if you start breathing slower during, like in between sets of repetitions with powerlifting or any kind of sports, it actually enhances recovery while you're working out. So breathing is actually really coupled with moving, although we don't think so. And breathing speeds up automatically when you do more. So it's all regulated automatically, but when we're more conscious of it, then we actually can improve overall well-being by breathing just a bit less, and of course also moving a bit more, but that is just because interrupted of sitting or lying down, because that's the main issue. We need to move more to sit less.
Yeah, but I'm curious, now that you're saying this, if you, for example, exercise, right, and then you go into recovery, does it affect how you breathe during sleep? Since you're not aware, you can't catch yourself breathing a little too fast while you're asleep.
Yeah, so people that are stressed, really stressed, they sleep worse. And it has to do with the activity of the activating nervous system. It's more active, therefore you get less deep sleep. Also, you have this tendency to not fall asleep as fast because you probably have tons like stress and your thoughts running wild. So if you are able to take more rest breaks during the day, rest breaks being breathing, moving, relaxation, moving around the day more, of course, then you actually will have better sleep quality, because the sleep process is a kind of rehearsal of the day itself. So sleep in itself, you already need to practice during the day. So get more recovery during the day and your sleep will improve during the night. And then the third thing came along and is also interrelated. So you've now breathing, moving and sleeping, because also moving improves sleep quality. So breathing and moving both at the same time, I think it's so, well, it's the foundation of human existence in a certain way. We are meant to move and we are meant to breathe. And if you are doing that well, you will see better quality in other domains of life.
Yeah. And this is also just a testament to the viewers that you are a sleep expert. I remember we had a conversation like a year and a half ago because I was really, really stressed. And I said, I don't sleep well. I haven't slept well for a year. And you gave me a tip. You said, you know what? It's going to sound crazy, but put a little bit of mouth tape while you sleep, just so you really breathe slower and deeper. Yeah. And I've been doing it for like a year and a half now, and I've had the best sleep I've ever had. Honestly, so thank you to the expert sitting right next to me. It really does make a huge difference.
Yeah, it's one of the advices I give to clients and also patients. I do think that breathing is so fundamental that if you don't breathe correctly, if you don't have a relaxating breath, you can't relax. If it's not relaxed by itself, how are you gonna relax yourself during the day and also during the night? You need to train, and sometimes a little assistance like a piece of mouth tape can actually help you to get that relaxation. But training, sure. Mouth tape is actually a training because it forces you to nose breathe, and therefore you get your nose breathing exercise done.
Nice. And also related to the breathing, Christian asks a very interesting question. What is the effect of taking in coffee for stress and breathing patterns?
Yeah, coffee. I've also discussed this with the sleep masterclass a few months ago already. Coffee is good, but the problem with coffee is too late is also not good. So there's this, like my advice would be never drink coffee after 3 p.m. It's already late. I would say 1 is already, like, for me would be the maximum, especially for me personally. That's why also I don't drink coffee generally. Some caffeinated drinks, but that's different. Not per se different in effect. Sorry about that. Sure. Once again, back to the business. Is about the caffeine is just giving you more stress. And it will allow you to perform better because we need a little bit of stress to perform. As I said, there needs to be kind of this balance. You can be too active or too relaxed, but there needs to be a balance of activation while staying in control, staying a bit relaxed. That's performance. That's why also athletes that are doing extreme sports, if they say, I feel tense, they don't run as fast on a marathon as they said, I feel relaxed while running. So there is this activation and relaxation at once. And what caffeine does is just pushing the gas pedal. But most of the time we don't have the capabilities to actually kind of compensate that. And why do we drink coffee or caffeine is just most of the time because we feel tired. And when we're tired, our brain is not really kind of coping well. And then you push the gas pedal, but your brain is not coping. So it can't recover. And then just you go. And then you're too active, too stressed, getting all the benefits of being very stressful, but also the side effects of getting less fit, less energy, and eventually also less performance, because I have this own opinion that people who start to drink more and more coffee during the day, it's not a good sign for performance.
Okay.
But that's my own opinion.
Everybody's just quitting caffeine after this masterclass.
It's just like in the morning it's beneficial. If I said like to wake up and stuff, you can actually, this is kind of a biohack. If you drink coffee, it will activate you more easily than by yourself. So I would say around 11-ish taking a cup of coffee. It's also widespread by Andrew Huberman and all those neuroscientists, that around 11 is the best way to kind of activate yourself for performance with caffeine, but don't drink after anymore. And that would be also my advice. If you look into the science, that would be my advice.
Okay, great. And Tamara also asks a related question to this. I think something we can all ask ourselves throughout the day. Do you have any tips or tricks for the workday to stay more aware of your body and its needs? For example, setting reminders to focus on breathing just to make it a little bit more conscious.
Yeah. Personally, I've really have a hard time implementing the Pomodoro timer, but I really like it because life is not divided in 25 minutes and 5 minutes recovery. But if there's a day you can actually implement it, just implement, because it will give you so clear message. Like 25 minutes, hey, do your thing. Now 5 minutes, get your bum up, move around, get the glass of water, go to a colleague, ask something, and that really helps. So that is something you can apply to your life or into daily work life. But the thing is, you can actually do all different types of things. It's not the Pomodoro time. It's like a little app, and it will help you. But just taking a mini break, just when it feels right. If you have to change from task to another task, let's say I'm doing emails right now, and I'm just writing a document about the guidelines on breathing. In between, I will shift my focus. And that is exactly the moment, if I'm aware of it, that I can say like, hey, why not breathe a minute, just slowly, and compensate what I was doing just before. And 1 minute doesn't make the difference in the long term. So this is how I approach these kind of things. It's just about when you change and kind of redirect focus, those moments you can really use to take some time, grab that glass of water, do that exercise, breathing or moving, tensing up, jumping around, dancing, whatever. It's good.
Nice. Yeah. Like looking for those opportunities, right? And the switch tasks. Oh, okay. Very interesting. We have a question from Lucy. She says, in yoga / Pilates, we are advised to exhale through the mouth and then inhale through the nose. Oh, you're already laughing. Is exhaling through the mouth not advised then?
It's okay. I wouldn't say it's the bad, like it's super bad. No, it's okay. It's a way of breathing. And I have to admit, like the pranayamas of the yogic kind of way have brought us now. We didn't believe in that kind of stuff like until 10 years ago, that it actually would work. So the thing is not bad, but like now scientifically speaking, it is better to just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And it has also to do with dehydration, because if you breathe out through the mouth, there's more fluid kind of evaporation. So therefore you dehydrate faster. If you do this all day long, I wouldn't advise it, but just for the practice of yoga, it's part of the practice. It's part of doing the practice correctly. And I think there's also beauty in that. So don't feel obliged now to just breathe only through the nose. Just keep on doing yoga the way you do, but be aware that just breathing through the nose in general, in and out, is the best thing you can do when you're not running around, not moderate, intense or vigorous intense exercise or activity. And yoga is kind of in between. Sometimes it's intense, then it's nice to breathe through the mouth. But sometimes you can fully do that through the nose, and maybe a little challenge. Do it once only through the nose. Just feel, right? And if it's nice, adapt, or maybe don't. Just stick around what feels good for you, because the practice is also probably you do this for a specific reason, probably to get relaxed. And if I'm kind of messing around with your practice and you will get stressed, that's not what I want.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of, like you're saying, making sure that the context is right as well. Not always being like, okay, Aäron told me that I need to breathe through my nose, so now I always need to breathe through my nose. We have time for a last question from Hey Yin. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. When do you know you found the right balance, physically and mentally? The $1 million question.
The $1 million question. Now, I would say very personal. I'm sitting here after a very hectic period. It was like doing this, like preparing for this masterclass. It's just, it's extra on the daily life or just your normal work. So I had the last 1.5 months, a tremendous amount of these extras, let's say. When you are able to go through life with all those things you didn't prepare for, when you are able to do this and stay quite relaxed, I would say you're able to find the balance because you're resilient. And being resilient is consistency over time. Training your relaxation and activation for so long that there is a lot of adaptability, changeability, like the capacity to actually change. That is what you're looking for. If you have that and you have a half year of stress and you actually can be quite relaxed about it, then I think you found the balance.
Wow.
And it's more into like this really deep, but it's truly something. You need to stress your body in a certain way to extremes. And that's why I like the extremes, but also really go to the recovery into the extremes. And if you can do both, your window of opportunity to move around increases as well. So you can allow more stress into your life because you are also more able to, recover from it. So we have this very narrow framework nowadays. We don't really activate ourselves too much, a bit chronically, but don't really recover because when we hit the couch back home, we just Netflix and chill, but we really don't recover. We're still doing something. Sit still, do something else, go to yoga. It's also moving, but also doing recovery in a certain way. So expand that frame, like this box of where you're at into a broader sense, like widen it, get better and recover and better in activation. And you will find better balance because in this small box, you can find balance, but this is way easier.
I love how you said you can allow more stress. It's like really, like you mentioned, pushing yourself, right, to more rest, more stress. And then when life gets stressful, that you've done this training, so to say, so you can allow yourself to handle more stress. That's very beautifully put.
Thanks. Thank you, Gabi.
Thank you so much, Aäron, for this masterclass. Really was really interesting. A lot of great insights. Everybody breathe less, move more. I'm pretty sure this catchphrase is going to stick with us for a while. And we also have in the next couple of days a course coming out on our website, openup.com, about breathing if you would like to practice some of these things that Aäron has mentioned. And also next Monday, we have a masterclass with an external speaker about the science of happiness. So we also really encourage you to tune in and also perhaps encourage your team members to tune in. Once again, Aäron, thank you so much and have a great rest of your week, everyone. Thank you.